The city was quiet, too quiet. A thin red streak sliced through the streets of Central City, bending light itself as it ran. The Flash was on patrol, eyes sharp, senses stretched to the edge of time. Every step cracked the air with electricity, every heartbeat synced with the speed force. But tonight something felt wrong. The wind shifted. The sky flickered. And then everything stopped. Not slowed. Not frozen. Stopped. The Flash skidded to a halt, his boots scraping sparks across the pavement. His breath echoed in the silence as he looked around. Cars hung midair, rain droplets hovered like glass beads, even the city lights were paused, buzzing silently. A slow clap echoed through the frozen street. "Well done, Flash," a calm voice said. "You noticed." From the shadows stepped a tall figure in a dark coat, glasses glowing faintly blue. His posture was relaxed, confident, like a man who had already won. "Professor," the Flash growled, "what did you do?" The professor smiled. "I improved time." With a flick of his wrist, the world snapped back into motion violently. A shockwave blasted through the street, throwing the Flash backward into a building. Bricks shattered, alarms screamed to life. The Flash burst from the rubble in a red blur. "You're messing with forces you don't understand." The professor adjusted his glasses. "On the contrary, I understand them perfectly." Suddenly, drones rose from the rooftops, humming with blue energy. They fired pulses of compressed time, bending reality as they flew. The Flash dodged, zigzagging through the air, leaving lightning trails behind him. "This ends now," the Flash shouted, accelerating faster, pushing beyond his usual limits. The city warped around him. But then the impossible happened. The professor moved. Not teleported. Not predicted. Moved. The Flash's eyes widened as the professor stepped aside calmly, letting the red blur miss him by inches. "Impossible," the Flash whispered. The professor tapped his watch. "I studied you, Flash, your patterns, your habits, your mistakes. Speed isn't everything." With a gesture, gravity flipped. The Flash slammed into the street, skidding uncontrollably. Time rippled like water around him, pulling at his limbs, slowing his thoughts. "You see," the professor continued, walking toward him, "you rely on instinct, emotion. I rely on calculation." The Flash clenched his fists, lightning surging. "You don't know what I rely on." He closed his eyes. The world faded. Inside the Speed Force, echoes of every run he'd ever made surrounded him. Every victory, every failure, every moment he chose to keep running when he could have stopped. He opened his eyes. And ran. Faster than before. So fast that the air screamed. The city blurred into pure color. Time shattered into fragments. The drones exploded one by one as the Flash weaved through them, dismantling the professor's tech in seconds. The professor's calm expression cracked for the first time. "So," he muttered, "you can evolve." The Flash appeared in front of him in a thunderclap. "I don't need to understand everything, I just need to protect this city." He swung. But the professor vanished. A deep rumble shook the ground. The street split open, revealing a massive underground machine, its core pulsing with unstable time energy. "You're too late," the professor's voice echoed. "This device will reset Central City to zero, no mistakes, no heroes, no Flash." The machine roared to life. Time began collapsing. Buildings flickered between past and present, people phased in and out, the sky fractured like broken glass. The Flash stared at the core, realizing the truth. He couldn't just run faster. He had to run smarter. He circled the machine, analyzing its rhythm, syncing his steps with its pulses. Each lap tightened the flow of energy, stabilizing it just enough. "Clever," the professor said, reappearing above the machine, "but can you keep it up?" The professor activated his final protocol. Time clones. Dozens of professor copies split from the original, each moving at near-speed force velocity. They attacked from every angle, striking with precision. The Flash was hit again and again. He crashed, struggling to stand. "You're exhausted," the professor said coldly. "This is where legends end." The Flash laughed, weakly but real. "You ever hear what they say about lightning?" he asked. The professor frowned. "What?" "It only needs to strike once." The Flash slammed his hands into the ground. Lightning erupted, pure, blinding speed force energy surging into the machine. The clones disintegrated instantly. The shockwave blasted the professor backward, slamming him into the core chamber wall. The machine overloaded. "Stop," the professor shouted. "You'll destroy everything." The Flash ran straight into the core. Time collapsed inward, compressing around him. Every second of his life flashed before his eyes. He pushed. Harder. Faster. Until. Silence. The machine shut down. The city stabilized. The Flash stumbled out, barely standing, electricity fatting from his suit. The professor lay restrained in energy cuffs, staring in disbelief. "You chose chaos," the Flash said softly. "I chose people." Police sirens echoed in the distance as dawn broke over Central City. The Flash looked toward the rising sun, breathing deeply. Another race won. Another lesson learned. And somewhere in the Speed Force, the next challenge was already waiting. Because as long as there was time, the Flash would keep running,